2 years ago, I seal coated my driveway with this colored sealer, and I thought I'd give you an update. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda out here on my driveway, and it is October 2022, which is 2 years and a few days after I have sealed this driveway. So actually what I did was I delayed that actual video. So I actually sealed it in the summer, and then I did a final video in October. So it's actually probably more like 2 years and 4 months. But a lot of people have asked me, how has this colored seal coat from Latex, I believe is the company, how has it held up? So I want to show you, because I think the conditions around here are as tough as any conditions that you'll have anywhere in the country. All right, so this is kind of a top level view of this, and there are a number of things to note about this seal coat. It's a warm day here. It's actually kind of a little unseasonably warm for October. The birds are still out leaving their little markings and stuff on here. So I want to show you some things and what I think is important to note about the seal coat, as well as to note just about the conditions overall. So first of all, what I think you would want to note about the seal coat is that because it's a lighter color, and they had gray and red, I believe too, but I like this tan because it kind of looked a little bit more like concrete. It's a lot lighter, so you don't get that heat kind of radiating off of it in the summer. If you're walking on this barefoot in the summer on black asphalt, it is unbearable. But you know, something like this is far more bearable if you have dogs or pets or something that are going to walk on your driveway in the summer, as opposed to like a black asphalt top like that. This is going to be so much more comfortable for them. But a couple things that you will have to note is like right here, where you will get tire marks when you are turning tires, because you're kind of grinding that black tire, that rubber, into the colored seal coat. And that happens in a variety of places, but after 2+ years, it's actually not that bad. And I'm not sure if the black rubber kind of comes off on here and then it washes away with rain, but you would expect it to be all over. I mean, here is a place where I actually had to do like a 6-point turn because we had cars parked all up and down the driveway, so I had to like maneuver my car out. So that was a few days ago, but in general it doesn't really look that bad. So the light color here meshing with tires is definitely something that you will have to keep in mind, as well as like anything that you might have dripping off trees. You know, like this tree right here is such a pain in the butt because it drips like these little berries that kind of stain everything, and you will certainly get that on the seal coat. Now I'm over here because this is actually maybe the worst of it. You can see that the seal coat is coming up and flaking off, and that is something that happens with all seal coats given enough time. Now I bring this up because here in the Midwest, in the Chicago area, we get a lot of snow, and sometimes even if we don't get a lot of snow, we get tons of cold. So the Arctic polar vortexes are kind of common. You get a few days of that. Honestly, we get a few days of school closures because it's minus 20 degrees, so it's super cold. And what ends up happening is the snow that maybe kind of melts from previous days when it's not so cold freezes into this hard icy sheen, and sometimes that just stays on there. And what I do is I do snow blow this driveway, but I also probably 2, 3, 4 times a winter hire a snow plow to come and scrape this off. So what ends up happening is that they just kind of manhandle it and kind of scrape along the top. And despite that, I actually don't think it's that bad. So you can kind of see here, this is, I think, snow plow remnants, where they are just putting that blade right on top of whatever surface you have and scraping. And it's a really good way to kind of get rid of that ice that honestly you can't get rid of with a snowblower, and you will just probably give yourself a heart attack kind of trying to scrape up yourself. But that's where I've noticed that these things pop up. Now think about that for 2 winters. That's actually really not that bad, and like I said, at a glance it doesn't look that bad. The other thing I want to point out here is that we are getting some cracking. Now this is nothing to do with the sealer per se. This is just a really old asphalt driveway that is sinking in some places. I have tried to fix it with some of that ready-made asphalt mix. I have used crack filler in some areas, so I actually have a bunch of different compounds on here. And the problem is, in some areas where it's thinner and the ground is moving, it is just kind of sinking, and I'm getting these cracks, and these cracks keep coming up regardless of the sealer and regardless of the year. This is actually not as bad as it has been in previous years. You can see how I have filled it in there and scraped it in there with some like trowel mix and whatnot, but the cracks here are just kind of normal, and there's no sealer you could put on there that would fix it. In fact, what I am probably going to do, and it's probably going to be my last year with it, is again use some of that trowel grade filler here on all the cracks, and then seal it with 2 more coats of seal coat. And I don't know if that'll get me another year or maybe 2 years before I actually have to replace the whole driveway driveway. It is pretty old. You can see the edge here is not what it used to be. And so what I'm just trying to do is extend the life, because getting a new driveway, especially when it is, I don't know, 60, 70 feet like this, it's not super cheap. And so I just don't want to spend the money. But overall, I actually really love this, and for having not done anything. So when I finished it in 2020, I haven't done a single thing with it. I haven't filled a crack. I haven't fixed an area. I haven't resealed anything. I haven't touched up anything. This is just what it is, and I am pretty happy with this. So if you are thinking about seal coating your driveway with a colored sealer, particularly this tan, or any of the other colors from Latex, I think you can expect this. If you live in a more temperate, cool, predictable climate, southern states, California, places like that, where you don't get the harsh cold and weather and winter weather, then I think you'll probably find that this lasts even longer. And I actually think maybe even get better benefits where it actually stays hot and you get a lot of sun. So I'm actually really, really impressed with it. It's not perfect. It's not like ceramic coat where you can put it on and it stays rock hard for years. I mean, it just gets weathered and beat up a little, but I couldn't be happier. And honestly, I've used just the black asphalt sealer before, and I had to do it every year sometimes because it was kind of flaking away so much. So Latexite, it's a really great product. It's a really reputable company, and I'm really happy with the quality of their product. So if you want to pick it up, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever, thanks to Peter Von Panda.